the chat, because we'd love to hear. We always love to hear what our customers are making.
I made two batches of hot cross buns today. Chocolate and sultana and apricots, because we had dried apricots at home.
Yay.
Great idea.
Yeah. Duffy, are you going to use your Thermomix? Because it arrived today and it's brand spanking new.
What are you going to christen it with first?
I think this might be Glenda's first time on Zoom.
Yeah, just found the I used to use it for work a long time ago in COVID.
Oh, yes.
Just found the unmute button because it wasn't showing on the screen. Now it's still in the box at the moment.
Oh, okay, cool.
Had the grandkids today, so.
Oh, good.
Maybe you can make some Easter Play-Doh for the grandkids, Glenda.
No, too much mess.
Oh, seriously, with the Thermomix, it's not mess. It's amazing.
No mess in the house.
Cleaning up
Outside. Do it outside.
Send it home with Amy.
Sorry, send it home with Amy, yeah.
Rightio. So we think we've got the majority of you in here now. Just giving you a few minutes to get in. We've had over 30 registered for the class. We just wanted to try and get you all in before we got started. But welcome, everyone, to Team Elevate Easter Cooking Class. So hopefully here just to give you a couple of ideas to get you started. We've got Anne and Lindsay and who are also going to whip up the So if I could ask you all to pop yourselves on mute now while we get started. And then if you have any questions, type away in the chat and we will get all your questions answered in there. And we will also be popping the recipes, everything we're making in. We will also shoot you out an email with the recording from tonight. Sarah, your internet might have accidentally dropped out. So no, if we kicked you, you wouldn't be able to come back in. So no, it's just your internet. So don't stress. Yeah, we will send a recording to everyone who comes this evening or who registered for the class. So we all know sometimes you register and then life takes over and you can't always attend. But we're going to highlight Kaz, and she is going to kick us off with her amazing recipe. So kick it off, Kaz, while I remove us all.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah, and welcome everyone tonight. So I thought I had a look on Cookie Do, and I just typed in Easter into the filter, into the search bar in the filters, and I came up with a few recipes, and one of them I thought really cute. Kids would love it. I have 4 young kids, so I thought I'll make some and they can eat them tomorrow. But they're these little egg salad in a crispy Easter nest. So really simple dough to make. It's going to take less than a minute, and then it's a really easy dough to maneuver because you don't have to put it in the fridge. You can just get on rolling with it straight away. So we'll get on started with the dough, and I have just made a batch of these. So my bowl just has the remnants of the batch I've just made, which is basically very simple ingredients, stuff you will have in your cupboard. But the very start of this recipe is actually using the egg boiler mode to hard boil some eggs. I did these earlier, so I'm going to skip this step. And the best way to skip a step is to scroll down when you're on the recipe screen, and you might not see it from back there. And then we're going to skip the egg part and tap straight onto the dough section. So all we've got in here is 250 grams of your plain flour and 30 grams of olive oil. Now this has got a very slow pour on it, but sometimes a slow pour is good so you don't go over too much. Has anyone made these? If you can type in the chat whether you've made these. We have homegrown eggs.
What's it called again, Sarah? I mean, Kaz, sorry.
The egg salad in the crispy Easter nests, I think it was.
Right.
Yep. So everyone, you'll get this the links to these recipes as well because you've registered.
And the links are going in the chat as the girls are presenting as well.
Thanks, Jane. And 120 grams of water. And half a teaspoon of salt. So really simple. That's all it is. You don't have to have butter or anything. And our measuring cup in the top. And it's just going to knead that together for 1 minute. So if you can hear me, these are the eggs I did before. Can you hear me? Is all good? Instead of peeling the whole egg, cut it in half with a knife and then use a spoon to scoop it out. So if you don't need perfect round eggs, just use the spoon to
That's a great tip, Kaz.
scoop that out. So really easy. So I've already done the rest of those. I've got one left to go here. So you could be doing this to your eggs while that's kneading.
What other recipes have you been using that will use the kneading function? We've already had someone pipe up and go 2 batches of hot cross buns today. That sounds like a perfect excuse of the kneading function to me. But we recently made some brioche. That's another good one. So we'd love to see in the chat or what else you're making.
In the world of organised crime.
All right, so that's our minute over.
There could be a few reasons as to why it's
That's
targeted
the
on John
there.
Torres back.
So the recipe, this recipe actually has some incorporated videos into it, which beauty of the TM6, if we've got that high functioning computer system in there, we can have a look at some videos with some hints along the way. So this one is asking us to roll it out into a square, about 40 by 40 centimetres. So I've got a mat over on my other bench. I just don't have quite enough room here that I'm going to roll it out onto. And then I'm going to cut 9 by 9 centimetres. You just don't, if you're using a mat, you just don't want to use anything sharp. But this palette knife is a really good one because it's not sharp, just cutting through that dough. So I'm just going to cut some squares, and then once I've got them in my tray, I will jump back on a bit later. So over to the next recipe for now.
Righto, so we're adding Anne into the mix, and she is going to highlight a delicious tart. So take it away, Anne. Oh, Anne, you're on mute.
Sorry. I'm making smoked salmon and brie quiche, and I've never made it before. Like Kaz, I did #Easter into recipes, and it came up with a whole list of recipes, and I'm making it today. So I'm going to make the pastry first, and then the egg mixture, and it's really simple, it's really easy. I did buy a side of smoked salmon today because it was $25 a kilo compared to $58 a kilo for little packets of it. And I figured over Easter with this dish, and I'll probably make it again, and the smoked salmon mousse, I'm going to use all of that smoked salmon anyway, and I've got it for basically half the price of what I would have paid for it buying it in small portions. So this is simple. It says preheat your oven to 205 degrees and then 170 grams of all-purpose flour. Now I'm just going to look up what collection this is from. Mother's Day in Canada. I thought it might have been because the wording is a little bit different. So tear it off and add in 170 grams of all-purpose flour. So just basic plain flour. In we go. And then some unsalted butter, chilled and cut into pieces, and in it goes. This is really simple. That was 115. And then next, 60 grams of cream. And they actually give the percentage of the fat in the cream, but I have good old Buller's thickened cream. So 60 grams of cream. Oh, don't you love it when you nail it? That is so good. It says a teaspoon of sugar. I'm not putting the sugar in. This is a savoury dish. And half a teaspoon of salt, because we use unsalted butter, so that you can control the salt. And then it's simple. Lid on, measuring cup on. And then when I'm mixing ingredients like this, it says to go to speed 4. I turn it slowly to speed 4 so it doesn't pop up. And it's doing it for 20 seconds. Beautiful. So one of my tips for bringing it together to tip it out is to do this. So it's sort of crumb-like. What I do is pat it in away from the sides and towards the middle and just firm it up a little bit. Can you see what I mean? So that when you tip that out, it's not going to go just everywhere. It will tip in one position.
So you're just controlling the free fall out, Anne.
Yes, I am. Trying not to make a mess. So upside down and then use your daisy to get it out. Give it a good whack. Oh, and it comes out perfectly. I love that. So don't overwork it, it's pastry. Just bring it together and I will roughly shape that into a rectangle and then fold that over. And the recipe doesn't say to let it rest, but I chilled it and I've got one that I prepared earlier. So I rolled it out and then I placed it in a rectangle dish. Now this is a loose bottom dish. I do have one strip of baking paper in the bottom there, and I've tried, let's hope it doesn't fall out, to get it reasonably even around the edges. So push it down slightly when it's still soft when you're putting it in, and then run a knife along here to straighten that edge a little bit. Prick it so that it doesn't bubble up. You could pre-bake this with some baked paper and some weights if you wish, but I'm not going to do that today. All right, so we can then use the same bowl. It's not going to make much difference. And it tells us to roll it out, chill it in the fridge. All right, next, 60 grams of green onions cut into pieces, approximately 4 green onions. So these are the, you know, what do you call them? I've forgotten the name. The onions anyway.
Spring onions, Anne, are they spring onions?
Spring onions.
Yep, the top of the spring onions.
All right, now 5 sprigs of dill. People ask, what is a sprig? All right. 1 piece of dill. I take the stalks off because that stalk is a little bit woody today, and I've got 5 or 6 of those in there. It's up to your personal taste. All right. Next, it says to put the lid on, and it's going to tell us to turn to speed 5. I don't want this mushed. So it's going to do it for 3 seconds on speed 5. I am going to put it on reverse and I'm just going to stir it because I want those spring onions to still be whole. So this just highlights that you're following a guided recipe and you can do your own thing. So we've mixed that and then add 3 large eggs. So these were the 800-gram eggs that I've used today. So it said large. And then 225 grams of that 30%, 30 to 40% fat cream. So 225, I beg your pardon. This is going to be delicious and rich. Beautiful. Then next, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So in we go with a bit of salt. That's up to your taste. And some black pepper. And then some, we'll put that in. When does it add the, no, it didn't add the Tabasco. All right. Oh, no, wrong recipe. Golly, I'm losing it. I've had such a big day today. So 30 seconds on speed 4.
Has anyone made any sort of tart or quiche before? We love making crustless quiches, so we just whiz everything up, throw it in and pop it in the oven to bake. Would love to hear if you've ever made any of the pastry-based cases or whether you've done the ones that you just pop on in. Would love to hear.
So now it asks for 85 grams of smoked salmon. I've broken it into pieces and 110 grams of Brie. Now I got this lovely Brie today at the supermarket and it was on sale. Old Telegraph Road, creamy Brie. I think it's a Tasmanian Gippsland one. So what I'm going to do is just place the I might do the cheese first. So I've just sliced the cheese into batons and I'm going to possibly, I think I'll place it on a diagonal across. Sorry, you can hear my dog in the background. He's sooking actually. Do you know what? I haven't got room for all of it. There's a couple of bits left over, so I will. I'll just leave that. So I'll show you when I've done this. I've got a stripy sort of effect of cheese and then salmon.
If I could jump in now for a second, Danny.
Go.
I thought before I pop these in the oven, so I've just been laying out our pastry. So your squares are about that. And there is a video that shows you can use the bottom of a glass to sort of push them into the muffin tray. But I just find using your fingers is fine. So then you get those sort of corners popping up there. But what was I going to say? It does say to like prepare your tray. This is the rose gold tray from the mix shop. I find these don't need any greasing. The batch I did before, those just came out perfectly. So beautiful quality in the rose gold range in the mix shop. So I'm just going to pop those in the oven for 10 minutes.
So I've got a sort of stripy effect there that will come through just slightly in the when it's baked, but the cream mix will cover it. So because it's a loose bottom tray, I've put it directly onto the board and then I'm just simply going to pour this mixture over. And I've got more than enough, so I'll hold it back. Then I bake it in the oven for 10 minutes on 205 degrees, and then reduce the heat to 180, bake it for 25 minutes until it's golden brown. So I'll pop that in the oven. Thank you so much, Sarah. Are we going back to you, Kaz?
Yep, let's do that.
Sorry. So I've popped mine in the oven at 200. But what the next step is, and does everyone know about the timer on the Thermomix, on the TM6? So I thought I'd show you that. If you press the little tab in the top center, that will bring down your timer option. And if you have got the new sensor, it will also be sitting there as well. But you can set the timer for however long you want, whether you're resting something or whether you've got something in the oven. So after we've rolled out and popped those in a tray, it actually tells us to roll the rest of the dough back into a ball. So all those cut off bits, and then we're going to cut out some little ears. So with if we can see, it might be a bit awkward. So using a spoon, using the edge of the spoon to create a bit of a curve, and then the opposite way. So that's going to create these little ears that we're going to pop in the oven as well. And you'll see those at the end when I plate it up of where those little ears are going. So these little petal shapes, I'll pop them, I'll cut more of those out and pop them on a tray in the oven as well.
That looks super cute. Sarah, in response to your question, the sound on your timer is connected to the sound level you have on your next button. So if you go into your settings and look for your sounds, it's the next button that you want to increase the level on if you struggled to hear the timer go on that one. Righto, so we might pop over to you, Lyndall, and you can get your exciting no-bake surprise on the get-go.
I thought we've had a few savouries. I might do something sweet. Now this is the non-bake Easter slice. I make this most years. It's a Bake Smile Play recipe, which I quite like her recipe. So it's not a cookie do one. She actually does a lot of conventional and Thermomix recipes. So that's why I like them. Now I'm going to make this dairy free. So because I've got a dairy free intolerant child. And so she was very upset when I told her this morning I'm doing a demo, I'm making an Easter slice. And she's like, no, Mum, you always make, and I said, I don't, I'll make it dairy free then. So I am making this dairy free, but it's very easy to make dairy free or just standard. So virtually the base, I'm going to start, it says melting butter in the Thermomix. So I actually use buttery. I'm going to use my scales, and I'm going to just put 100 grams of butter in, which I've already measured out, and I'm just going to melt that. Now, normally this is a softer butter that I use, and if you're using standard butter, you would need to melt it for probably 2 minutes. But being this butter, I probably only need to melt it for about a minute because it's very soft anyway. So I'm just going to go speed to 80 degrees, 85 degrees, and I'm just going to speed to, sorry, and just melt that. Now, while that's melting, I will, I have actually, just for those, does anyone have to cook dairy free on here? Have they got grandkids or family that are dairy free? Or vegan, even?
Lots of easy substitutes these days, if you are. Thermomix makes that super
super easy. I've discovered teddy bear biscuits.
We've got a couple of
Sorry, Jane.
We've got a couple of customers that are vegan that have posted some info in the chat.
Yep, great. So these are dairy free teddy bear biscuits. And also, so I use these for a lot for when I'm doing rumbles or anything that's like biscuit based. The other thing I've discovered are chocolate ripple biscuits are dairy free. So my daughter thinks that's great because she can do, we can have chocolate ripple biscuits. Now that's melted. So what I've done is I've actually milled this already. So I've milled 250 grams of teddy bear biscuits. And I've used my chop mode. Who's used their chop mode? I actually really love my chop mode. It's one of the modes on your machine. It's virtually everything in the back of your cookbook. It's actually on your machine now. And it stops the thinking about how long should I cut, how long and how fast. And so if anyone hasn't used the chop mode, I encourage you to give it a go over the Easter holidays. It's a good time to try new things, but that's really great. So now all I need to do is I'm going to add the condensed milk, which you can actually buy sweetened condensed milk, coconut milk. I have tried to make it, but I cannot find a dairy-free alternative to milk powder, because even the coconut milk powder has milk powder in it. So I can't use that, but I'm on my mission to find one. I'm going to go back to my scales just for the purpose of this exercise. It says 300 grams, which is pretty much 320. So I'm just actually going to pop all that in because it probably includes the can, I'd imagine, which I think I might be right. So the contents comes to about just over 300, 313. Then I'm going to add coconut. So it just says, what is it? I'm just reading the recipe. 1 cup of coconut, which is about 90 grams. When you cook manually, you really do realize how easy it is to use a cookie dough recipe that's already in a machine, I reckon, because it's already there for you. So 90 grams. So I'll pop that in there. And then it says to add the crushed biscuits. No, sorry, not crushed biscuits yet. Add the condensed milk and mix on speed 3. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. Mix on speed 3 for 10 seconds. So it's going to 10 seconds. That's looking great. Then after that, we get the add the crushed biscuits and mix further. So I'm just
a bit like making rumbles, Lyndall.
Pretty much like making rumbles, and I actually don't mind making rumbles now that I've got a Thermomix, because it's just so easy to have the crushed biscuits. Now this is once again, it's just another 10 seconds on speed 4.
Sarah's saying you can make a dairy-free milk powder by dehydrating your own version of milk on low in the oven until it's dry and then blitzing it up, which is a handy little tip for people. Also, just clarifying for you, Sarah, that Lyndall was talking about the chop tool mode. So in your cookbook that comes with your Thermomix, you receive a section in the back for the white, if you've got a classic TM6, the chop tool. There's a picture that Jane has popped up into the chat of what it looks like in your mode section. It's the section in your cookbook that tells you all the shortcuts. If you wanted to make some breadcrumbs or mill and melt some chocolate or just steam some veggies.
So I'm going to show you. So I've got the chocolate here. I'm going to go to my chop tool. And I thought, rather than doing this, I'm just going to show you so you can actually see, to try and encourage you guys to use your machine to the max. So I'm just going to max capacity. So I'm just going to do coarsely chopped, and I'm just going to weigh in because I don't know how much is in here, but I do need 250 grams. So I'm just going to weigh it in, make sure that's, yep, it's about 240. So that's almost right. And then I'm going to do that one. Now, I don't know, there's lots of dairy-free alternative chocolates out there. I use this one a lot. It's a plant-based oat milk chocolate, Whittaker's. It's in Woolies. It's probably in Coles too, but Woolies is just down the road, so I use that. Sweet Williams is another brand that do dairy milk, and 70% Lindt chocolate is actually dairy-free as well. So there's some few options if you needed dairy-free options for Easter. So I'm just going to set that. Now, obviously it's in the bowl. It's already set. It sets to 4 seconds, and I have to just turn it around to speed 7, and it does its job.
Can't hear you, Lyndall.
Pardon?
It's muting you with the Thermomix because you're standing close to it.
Right, okay, well, that's good. I was going to say it's very loud, so I'm not going to talk. So you can see that that's actually milled that quite well. So you can see
Nice
that.
and coarse.
So that's a coarse grate, which makes when you're tempering chocolate, it's good to grate it first. Now, to melt this chocolate, it says to do speed 2. So I'm going to go back to home. It's the wrong way around this recipe because it always tells you the speed first. So it's 3 minutes. I'm going to do 3 minutes. And I'm going to do it to 60 degrees. And I'm going to do it on speed 3. Now, if I come over here, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, great. So now, who loves these at Easter time? Give me a thumbs up if you love them. I've done some cute little Easter chocolate nests with the good old is it the chain noodles with the peanut butter and chocolate? You make little nestings with these in it. Normally these would go in the mixture, but because they're dairy, I'm actually just going to put them on top, the top half of the slice. So I've actually got some little cute little colourful mini marshmallows. I'll just show you. And these are kind of Easter pastel colours. So that's great. And I'm just going to pop them in instead of the Easter eggs. So I'll just stir that through. And it's really easy from here on in. So all you do is you stir that through and it's looking so cute in Easter style. And then I get my prepared slice container.
Oh, that dough looks lovely.
I might add a couple of more marshmallows on top. Now I reckon I might make this again for the teachers at school, I reckon. But I might try it with chocolate ripple with the marshmallows in it, because I reckon that will be really cute with the chocolate ripple biscuits. And then have the bright coloured marshmallows, don't you reckon?
That would look very festive.
Very, very festive, very Eastery.
I love how soft and pliable that is. Really easy to shape.
Yep, it's fantastic. Now these spatulas are from the mix shop, and I don't know who has one of these. I love them.
Love the Tovolo spatulas. They're very, very good.
Right, so I've pretty much put that in there. So that's, you can see that that's in there. My daughter is going to love this. She's going to be able to take some to Kinder. It's always great as a mum to be able to cook things and make them fun, even if your kids can't have certain intolerances. And that's why I love my Thermomix, because I originally got my Thermomix because of my second child had all these different things that I had to try and cater for. And so it's just really good for when you have different intolerances. Now that chocolate is pretty much melted, so I'm going to stop it right there. And then I'll show you, I'm going to pour it on. And
I'm hungry just looking at that, Wendell.
Pardon? I'm
hungry just looking at that.
Well, I'm not doing sugar at the moment, Sarah, so it's very tempting, but I can't eat it.
Oh.
It's a long time to try and do sugar, isn't it? But anyway, that's okay. It's always the wrong time not to do sugar, I reckon, sometimes. So I'm going to see if I can put that in the screen a little bit so you can see how beautiful that pours.
Lovely and glossy too, so you're going to get a nice crack on the top of that.
Yep. Sometimes you can put coconut oil in your chocolate if you're melting it, and that does give it a nice shine on it. But I didn't tonight. I just thought I'm just going to do this.
That looks lovely and glossy just as it is. You've got a nice shine coming off of that.
Well, it's going to be delicious. I'm sure my kids are going to think so. That's awesome. Then I'm not going to waste that chocolate. I'm going to make my kids, they're watching Australian Idol. I'm going to make them a bit of, put some milk in there and make a bit of a hot chocolate for them with that.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Never wasted with your Thermomix, is it, guys?
Righto.
You can actually crush these little Easter eggs, but I'm actually just going to pop them on top. And then, as I said to my daughter, she can just, I'll leave her an end where she doesn't have to worry about it. But if you were to chop them, you can just probably pop them in the Thermomix, the same thing, and just give them a bit of a whiz. So there, how glossy is that, guys?
That looks absolutely
Easter
delicious.
slice. So I'm going to pop that in the fridge, and that just needs like kind of overnight just to set it all, and then cut it and try and hide it until Easter. I wonder if I could do that. I'll give him a bit of an Easter treat on the last day of school on Thursday. So yeah, so that's my Easter slice. So has anyone got any questions about that? Or we might move on to, is it Anne, or are we going to you, Sarah?
Popping over to me, unless Anne's in the oven for a bit, isn't she?
Having 2 bowls.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. You go, Sarah.
If you know anyone who wants a Thermomix, now is the time, because 2 bowls, I use 2 bowls all the time. It's a game changer. So you know anyone, time is limited, get on it and get them to get a, yep, exactly, Sarah.
We do have 2 fabulous, amazing offers at the minute. If you're purchasing a Thermomix for the very first time, you can add a second bowl, blade and lid set for only $49, which is a massive saving. They're normally $395. Or if you're one of our original customers and you've got a TM31, which is where I started, it's where Anne started as well, you can actually trade yours in. You can get $250 off your bowl, blade and lid set, off your Thermomix, and you can get a complimentary bowl, blade and lid set as well. So that's giving you about $645 worth of value for your TM31. Also have a chat to your consultant, because they have a little bit more information around that offer for you, which you will probably want to hear. So they're the 2 different options. So it's 2329 if you're trading in, and it's 2579 plus your 49 if you would like to add another bowl. But I'm getting on to more sweet treats, because that's what I like to do too. I have just got 60 grams of raw sugar, and I am going to mill that down. Helps if I have a bowl here handy. Right, so that's just 10 seconds. So you're going to then sit that aside. So just got a bowl, I'm just going to pop that in. If you've got multiple bowls, obviously you can just set them aside.
One of our customers on tonight, she's got 4 bowls, so that's very exciting, because we understand that glorious feeling of having lots of bowls.
Pretty good. I'm reusing, and I've got multiples too, but a lot of packed up still from the big expo we did yesterday. And I'm trying to keep one clean, so we've got our beautiful apricot glaze coming after. So the next step is to insert your butterfly. Would love to know what you use your butterfly for. You pop it behind the tallest blade and pop it in. We're going to pop in 250 grams of cream. I like to use a pure cream, but you can't always get that. So I've just got a nice straight cream. So you want 250 grams of this. I'm not quite there. I'm going to top it up with just the thickened cream that I could get. And you don't want to over whip this. So we're just going to pop this on for 20 seconds, because it does get mixed again. So remember, with your butterfly, it's just speed 4. There are 4 blade edges. Speed 4 is the max that you use for your butterfly. Just want it to stay on. So once that cream is whipped, I'm going to set that aside.
And if you do ever forget what speed is the maximum, if you look at the side of your butterfly, there's a little number 4 etched in the side too. So
Unless your eyes are as bad as mine. Struggle to see that.
Sarah, Kerry on tonight said she has made 10 rounds of butter today with her butterfly.
Oh, brilliant work. Great
I've
money.
got another 18 to go. She's obviously making lots of butter. That's amazing.
You've obviously got yourself a pretty good deal on some cream somewhere along the line. Do you make any of them into flavoured butters? We do logs of garlic butter and chamula butter, which is really good on your fish for popping in the freezer. So you can just grab one out and add it to things. I'd love to know if you flavour up any of that butter. So we've got our cream. We have set that aside. Now we're going to pop in our 250 grams of cream cheese, which I had roughly chopped. The great thing about this is you can just keep banging things in there and you don't really need to be too particular about it or what state your bowl is in. So we've got 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. We have got 1 squeeze of vanilla bean paste. And we're going to pop back in that lovely sugar. You can barely see it now because it's so nice and milled into our beautiful icing sugar. So we're going to put that in and it gets mixed for 40 seconds on speed 5. What have we got? $2 for 600 mils. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal indeed. Where did you find that bargain, Kerry?
speaking of the butterfly, when I was prepping for tonight while the kids were eating dinner, I realised I had no mayonnaise left. So just before we jumped on, I made a batch of mayonnaise with my butterfly in there so that I've got mayonnaise to go into the egg salad that goes in these little cups. So I live 10 minutes from the nearest supermarket, which closes at 7 o'clock. So I'm always making ingredients from scratch, including Kewpie mayonnaise, which my kids love. And I don't want to buy Kewpie mayonnaise because it's full of nasties.
Right. So that has blended all of that together. We are literally going to add our butterfly back in, and then you're going to add your whipped cream back in. So I just try to spread half onto each side of the butterfly whisk. And you're just mixing this for 5 seconds. On speed 3, so a nice gentle little stir. The IGA in Redcliffe, well, that sounds like a bargain to be had. I think that you swiped the shelf potentially there. Good work. And you can see there that this now makes a lovely stiff mixture. But you have done a little bit of prep work. So first up, you got your little egg that's hollow, and you got your knife, and you need to cut the top off. So I find that if I just go in one straight cut across, you get a lovely bowl of tops that you can turn into your hot chocolates later, or you could melt down to go on top of your slices or any of that sort of thing. So you need to get your eggs pre-prepared. Cadbury thought it was a great idea this year to ditch the plastic cartons and put their eggs in a cardboard box, but that really doesn't help you. When you're trying to shape these, you can use your standard egg carton and wedge them up, or you can use one of these beauties if you've got those egg containers in your fridge. So this recipe gets you to pop that mix into a piping bag and then I literally use a snap lock bag so I can get absolutely every skerrick out of it. If you're piping the Easter meringue nest like I did earlier today, the Thermomix piping bag for that one is absolutely fantastic because it comes almost to the top of the bag. You get that much beautiful egg whites whipped. Whereas this, you just get one gorgeous, cute snap lock bag full. So you get your little egg cup and you just squeeze it in until you're up to the top. And just so you know, this mix has done 14 eggs and I have still got that amount of cream left. So you get, I think around 16 to 18 cups or egg cups from your batch. And then literally, I'm just popping the back of the spoon on just a teaspoon into the egg cup mixture to create myself a little well in the middle that we're going to put our filling mix into. So, Kaz, do we need to come back across to you to do any filling before I move on to my next part?
Yes, I might, if that's okay.
Yep.
So I've got my cups out of the oven and I miscounted, so I'm missing one. But super easy. That's what we're going to fill with our filling. So we'll get on with the filling now. And because I just literally made this mayonnaise, I'm just going to take my dirty bowl, which has got some mayonnaise left in it, and take my butterfly out. And I'm just going to use this. May as well just use that extra bit of mayonnaise that's in the bottom there because that's what's going into this filling mixture. So we're going to add some parsley in there, 2 sprigs, leaves only, and 20 grams of shallots or the spring onion tops into there. Now I'm a bit under on my weight, but I'm not going to be too fussy about that. The kids aren't going to know. And we're just going to chop these for 3 seconds on speed 7.
While that's chopping, Kaz, I might show the delicious passion fruit that I have picked up off my vine this afternoon that we're making. And I have got 2 of these that I have popped into a sieve that I've got sitting on top of the Thermomix bowl. And then literally using the back of the spoon, you just want to push the pulp through, leaving the seeds at the top. You want to get all of that beautiful passion fruit pulp off, just leaving your seeds behind, which I then enjoy just munching on their own.
Rightio. While you're finishing doing that, Sarah, I'm going to next add those 6 boiled eggs. So the boiled egg gives you the tips of using 6 cold eggs. My fresh eggs from the chooks are just in my pantry. So instead of going medium hard or hard, I take it back one step from what I actually am desiring for the egg boiler because mine aren't chilled eggs. So if you're using fresh eggs that are at room temperature, that's a handy tip there. So you get your eggs as you would like them. So we've got 30 grams of sour cream. Or sometimes I'll often just use some homemade Greek yogurt instead of that sour cream as well. And 10 grams of mustard. I prefer to use Dijon mustard to standard mustard. I'm just going to use about half, just so I don't put off the children in case they don't like the taste. And then we've got the 10 grams of mayonnaise. So I did have a little bit left in the bowl, but if you've got any of these are great from the mix shop, our little squeezy bottles. This is the medium size. So one batch of the Kewpie is filled up to around about there. So we have small, medium, large sizes that come in a pack of 2. So I'm just going to squeeze in 10 grams into there. And then just 10 grams of white vinegar. And some black pepper, which I'm just going to leave the black pepper out. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Or you can back that salt off a little bit if you desire, or leave it out if you're watching your salt content. And we're just going to mix that together. 15 seconds, feed 3.
So over in mine, to that passion fruit pulp, I added 30 grams of butter and I added 65 grams of apricot jam, homemade, yum, delicious. And that is actually cooking for 3 minutes on 60 degrees speed too. So we've got a couple of minutes before we get to the grand finale of these. You're doing your filling. How do your ears get attached? That's what I'm curious to find out, Kels.
Yes, very last. So what you've then got your mixture in there. I'm just going to use a couple of spoons to spoon them into the cases. And we've also got some whiskers that I'm going to add on as well, with just some chives that I've gone and cut off from the veggie garden. The shallots are from my veggie garden as well. If anyone has shallots, or if you're buying shallots, like your spring onions, even if you're buying them, cut off the bottom inch or so. Don't throw it. Pop it in a glass on the windowsill, and then that is going to shoot again and again and again as you need to cut it off. So you can even pop it in a glass for a few days and then pop it in the garden as well. Same thing, don't pull the whole thing up, just cut it off as you need it. Same with leeks. If you're buying a leek, you can plant it, just that bottom section. So I'll finish doing the whole lot, but we're going to take 2 of our ears, and I think I made my ears a bit long because they're a bit unbalanced. And then just using my scissors, gone, cut off some whiskers, and that is going to be my little Easter bunny. You're on mute, Sarah.
I was like, they look so cute.
I need to put a board behind it so you can see it better. But yeah, so I'm just going, I'll fill a few more of those. I won't fill them all. I'm going to eat some for dinner, and then I'll fill some for the kids tomorrow.
Very, very tasty looking. I am just pouring out our beautiful warmed up apricot jam with our passion fruit pulp butter filling. Yet again, using the beautiful big smoothie tumbler with a snap box over the top. Just squeeze them out. This is easier to do while this is warm. And of course, using the good old scissors from the kitchen toolkit, which is one of the amazing host rewards at the minute. Love to know, type in the chat if you've hosted a cooking experience before. What host reward did you decide to get from the selection? There are lots of different options available now. I think we're up to about 9 options for host rewards. So would love to hear which ones you have potentially chose in the past, or what ones you would like in the future. We've got a great range. I'm sure Jane probably has a lot of these at her house at the minute, but we've got a 2.5 litre oval thermoserver, which you can get in a black now, as well as the silver option. You can get a white or a black glider board. You can get yourself a year's subscription for Cookie Doo. We've got a limited time offer of the sensor, Mine's still packed up in the kit bag from the Lara Food and Wine Expo yesterday. But if anyone has theirs handy and would like to show everyone what that is, that would be amazing.
Sarah, I've got the toolkit here.
Oh, let me spotlight you because the toolkit is an absolute ripper. Comes with everything that you can need. I just have one in the car.
So it starts with a scoop, and then you've got 2 knives. Whoops, sorry, they've got covers on them. That they are solid and steel knives, and they are excellent.
Yep, you get the pointed and the curved pairing knives. Look at those.
They're beautiful, and they just hold their shape. I mean, the sharpness. Oh, can't get this one out. This is fantastic. This spatula. Yeah, I'll see if I can find mine in the cupboard. A great peeler, and then some kitchen scissors that Sarah spoke about, which come apart. They are so good. But this spreader, which I can't get the cover off.
It's a great little bread knife, that one, and struggling to get out of the cardboard because they pack them in nice and tight, which helps keep them looked after in their little pouch. I have one in the car. I've got one in my kit bag. There's one in pieces in my kitchen drawers. They're absolutely fantastic. The scissors will cut through a chicken carcass. They are absolutely fantastic.
Sarah, if you can spotlight me, I've got my knife out of the toolkit to help Anne out, and I've got my sensor. But I haven't had my camera on, sorry, because we've been running around.
I'm just trying to find you in the chat. There you are. Let's go.
Sorry, I'm holding a knife up.
There you go.
And thanks everyone for all their comments in the chat. I will go back and read them out. We've got some lovely dinner ideas that have been coming up, and everyone's going to head to Sarah's place tomorrow for her birthday because she has been cooking up a storm. This is the knife from the toolkit that Anne was trying to get out. That's kind of like a great bread knife, but also great in terms of the spatula side of things. And as Sarah was mentioning, we've got 10 host rewards on offer at the moment. So many things to choose from. I know in some of the comments, there were some of the baking mats that everyone's been enjoying and thermoserves and things. So great time to increase your repertoire and pick some other ones. This is the new Thermomix sensor, which has been on offer and is on until the 4th of April, I'd like to say.
I think it's the 10th, actually.
Oh, great. I thought you had it on your piece of paper and we were going to do a great tag team. So apologies, everyone. I'll look it up and I will put it in the chat. So the sensor, I need to kind of going single-handed at the moment, but the sensor comes out. It's the white case that you saw me holding up before is its charging case where it actually charges, and it's great because it's got magnets on the back, so you can put it straight on top of your range hood or on the fridge or somewhere, so you always know where it is. Now this can be used not only in your meat but also in your bread doughs or everything else. Yes, Sarah, it is very similar to the meter that used to be sold, but it does even more because you can do it for your cakes or your breads or anything else as well. And it's now connected through an app, but also through your Thermomix. So there's been some new collections you're seeing Cookie do around the sensor. This is the base part that you can actually then clip onto your cake tin, or we used it for the hot cross bun loaf at our cooking class on Friday. And I'm just really testing my skills with one hand here, team, but so probe ends up sitting in like that, so it can sit in your bread or anything else. A bit easier, yes, when you're putting it into your meat, you don't need that part on the side. That cooks in, and as I said, that will then come up on your Thermomix when you've activated that. It looks for the internal temperature to make sure you're cooking that correctly, and if you're doing a meat or anything, it will also give you your resting time, just to take that guesswork out of what you're doing and create success each time you're in the kitchen, no matter where you are. So very popular host reward. I'm going to jump back off and I will keep replying to everything in the comments because Sarah's read. And apologies, I know you're all hanging out for this recipe that she's holding, but I was just checking in case we do a little bit of a tutorial with it for how you put it on Cookie Do so you can cook more easily with it. Thanks, everyone.
There you go. Nice little close-up of your lovely Easter cream eggs. one will probably be entering my belly in about 2 seconds flat. They are super easy to do. And yet again, the passion fruit apricot jam filling makes quite a lot. So I still have enough to fill another batch. So you can literally almost make 2 dozen eggs. It's pretty easy. Trust me, you'll be regretting not having made several batches once the kids and everyone else in the house discovers where they're hiding, because they won't stay secret for long. The minute my daughter walks back in the door tonight, she is going to be on them in a flash. So, Kaz, you're all prettied up over there. We might switch over to Anne, because she's going to whip us up a lovely Easter dip. Ready to take it away, Anne?
I am, and I just opened the slider board as well. That is one of the great host rewards. These are solid and they allow you to safely move your Thermomix and less likely to damage your scales. Now I'm going to make, this is called smoked salmon mousse, and if I just bring you in a little bit, this is a recipe that's been around in Thermomix circles for quite some time. Fiona Hoskin wrote it, and she developed this cookbook. It was one of our first sort of entrepreneurial books, a devil of a cookbook. Fiona raised money for the Tasmanian Devils to help care for them, and this recipe is from this book, but it is also on Cookie Do. It's a Christmas collection, but once again, when I put hashtag Easter in, it must have a hashtag for that as well. So this is a simple, it makes a decent quantity of it as well. So let's just start cooking. So a quarter of a red onion. So a quarter of a red onion is a bit tricky, and it's up to your taste. I am putting in 22 grams of red onion because a quarter of an onion is just too much red onion for my taste. And 4 sprigs of dill. So I've pulled it off the stalks. That's approximately 4 sprigs of dill. And then just pop the lid on and oh yes, I do have a lid. We're just going to chop this down. 3 seconds, speed 7. Super quick this week.
And Vera, who's joining us tonight, says she's made this salmon mousse regularly and always gets asked for the recipe. So I just asked her for tips on how she likes to serve it or what she likes to put it in as well.
Yeah, good. Now, there's a couple of chunks in there. I'm going to repeat that process. Scrape it down, repeat it so that I get smaller bits of onion. Yeah, there's lots of ways to serve this actually. You can pipe it. So I'll just go back and repeat the process. Next, we're going to add 250 grams of cream cheese. Yeah, that's chopped that much better. All right, 250 grams of cream cheese is just 1 block of cheese. Now, I don't cut it up, I just throw it in. And then 120 grams of pouring cream or whipping cream. Beautiful, super easy. 20 grams of fresh lemon juice. Beautiful. And then a teaspoon of Tabasco. I am not putting a teaspoon of Tabasco in. I'm only going to put a couple of drops. Now, you don't have to go and buy Tabasco to do this. It does make it taste really good, but a little bit of cayenne pepper will give it that spice if you want to serve it to children and you do not want any spice or hotness to it. It only gives a mild hotness to it. I just put in a few drops. I do not put a whole teaspoon in because Tabasco.
Live on the edge, Jan. Add the teaspoon.
I've made this a few times. I am not doing that. Humour me some more. All right, now
Up your life.
20 seconds speed 4 to mix it.
Would love to know what some of your other favourite dips are. So love to see in the chat what your favourite dips are, what you love to serve. This salmon mousse we make, I have got a fish-shaped metal tin that I keep in a storage box out in the garage, specifically for serving this up because it makes it look super pretty. But yes, comes out like a fish.
So scrape down the sides as per requested. Beautiful.
Sarah, never made dip in the Thermomix. Herb and garlic dip, hummus dip, or the beetroot dip with the cumin that's dry toasted and yogurt. Yum.
Look at
Turkey
this.
basil pesto dip.
Look at this little spoon that David has made me. It's a Sunday spoon from house, and he's slightly shaved off the sides and bent the end of it so it fits in a caper jar.
Oh, we'll commission him to make some of those.
I tell you what, some of my customers already have them.
Skinny Mix's gherkin dip and French onion dip. Yum, Kerry.
He's yelling out in the background, how many do we need?
Ah, right. He only thought he was retired.
Now, the recipe says 250 grams of smoked salmon. I put 200 in, it's perfectly fine. I've broken this up a little bit as well, and in it goes.
Well, Marin, the use of the spoon is that it fits down the neck of your caper jar and it drains off the juice. Perfect spot.
So it's now using the blend function, and it's doing it in 2-second intervals, and it says to repeat it 3 times.
Oh, you've got another taker. Marin's in, Annie.
Marin's in.
Oh, Kaz is raising a hand.
Is she? Okay. Now,
Careful, you'll get the chat going even quicker than it's already been going by all the orders.
Now I do this twice and have a look at it because you don't want to over whip your cream. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Now, this dip is so tasty, and it's made enough for 2 bowls. It is just so gorgeous. Now, I've served this in just on little croutons or toasted bread. I've piped it into choux pastry cases as well. I have popped it into dishes and set it quite firmly in the fridge, and I've used it in a sandwich as well. It is just delicious.
You know what this would be super tasty in, Anne? The Brazilian cheese puffs.
Yes.
When they're warm, you just pop your thumb in the middle and they make like a little gluten-free vol-au-vent. From go to woe, they are made, cooked and pressed in looking like a vol-au-vent in about 15 to 20 minutes. So they are the easiest gluten-free casing you can make to shove any of your dips in. They're a really good one to take.
And you can also make that mixture into like a pancake type thing and make a gluten-free wrap out of it as well. The Brazilian.
Yes, the Brazilian cheese puffs, yes.
So we have our beautiful dip, and I also have the tart.
Ooh, yeah. how pretty that is.
Isn't that just delicious? So I have another batch of pastry and I will make another one. I shall take photos of that for you as well. So
I'll be there in a few hours, Annie.
yeah, okay, all right. And David's hovering in the background waiting for his dinner.
He's like, crack on, ladies, show that freaking cut in. We've got to earn his keep. He's now making, 30-something spoons.
Yeah. So
Me,
how
Sarah-
many spoons was it?
Let's just say 20. There's a big team. No, Sarah was just asking us to go over how you turn the Brazilian cheese puffs into a wrap.
You just pour it. The mixture is a runny mixture. You can just pour it straight out onto your sandwich press in, like a round circle, like you're pouring a pancake mixture, and then just shut the lid, baby. Cooks it both sides. Boom. Just like that.
Yeah, I do it on my pancake, my crepe pan. I pour it onto that and sort of tilt it a wee bit so that it covers it. And yeah, it's delicious. I've got a lot of customers that make those wraps out of that mixture.
Yeah, super easy one to do. So, Kaz, we whip back over to you. Let's get everyone back on because I think we have pretty much finished everything. So if I just bring all the ladies back on, where's Lyndall? Here she is. Hopefully you've all found yourself a bit of Easter inspiration through tonight's dishes. Let me get my eggs back out from the fridge, which have had a chance to firm up a little bit more.
Sarah, while you're doing that, have you seen these? These are great for doing your pastry things for anyone. So you can do like your mini muffins and you can do your big muffins. But they're just from the mix shop. They're just called a pastry shaper. So they're really good for doing that if anyone wanted something other than glass.
I found with this dough anyway, it was just perfect. Just
beautiful, yep.
with your fingers. Yeah, yep.
So we've got Kaz's beautiful crispy Easter mess. We've got my delicious Easter cream eggs, which is on the recipe community. Jane's about to show you a little squiz at how you can add that to your TM6. Lyndall has her beautiful no-bake slice. I mean, you can't get any easier than that. Mix tip, and boom, into the fridge you go. What an absolute simple one to make. And Anne's got that delicious tart up the top and that beautiful dip. I mean, what a good money saver both of those are. And look at the size of them. Like, you've got that dip times 2 in that container that Anne's delicately hanging on to up there. Got cast iron hands, Anne?
Oh, yes, I've got a little towel underneath it.
I might just flip over and pin Jane so she can actually show you how to import your recipe into your created recipes. Let me just spotlight you, Jane. And off you go.
So hopefully everyone will start seeing my screen.
Yep.
And
screen. You've got the Zoom up.
All we need to do for Sarah's recipe community one, so you should be able to see that on the screen now. You could just, when you go down, there's always the add to cookie dough at the top, and there's often another one down the bottom just in case you missed it. But one of the really great things about adding this to your cookie dough thing is you can actually now share some of your created recipes. So it's just come up as add from recipe community. I did have a feeling I've potentially got it in here already, but that's all right. I always just like to change a little bit in the title so that I often put in RC so I know it's from the recipe community. And if it's a recommendation, I just like to write Sarah's favourites. So I remember who they were from because I need some of those prompts. Then just press confirm. You're welcome to do them. You could obviously put your own picture and things in there. You can change the devices and things you need to. You'll find when you bring them across, sometimes it's now getting smarter and it's actually putting in the steps and things for you. Sometimes you do need to edit them, which is why it's lovely that we can now share them, because if I sit and do the editing tonight, I can then share that all with you afterwards. But it's as easy as just pushing that little pencil button is what I was trying to say. And then you can go in. So if you want to actually add a step in here, depending on how many that you need, whether you need to break them up because the writing's too much to read, you can make that work for you. And when you've done those parts, so I think I've just taken off a part. Apologies, everyone. I'll undo, but I promise I'll do it properly afterwards. What was I putting in first, Sarah? Go back for me.
What's that?
The first bit that I just undid because I can't see my screen when I'm sharing it very well. That's right.
If you touch on the
I'll
bit that's highlighted on your recipe, it actually comes up on your Thermomix with the ingredients you need for that step. So that's the great thing.
Yes, I was just showing them how you could break it up, but we will do it the other way.
Oh,
I went one step too far and took one off. If you needed to add it and break it, that plus bit down the bottom there, you can then just add in, so that when you're adding your scales, it'll take things directly from your ingredient list.
Yep, and you can just scroll down and tap on the one you want.
And then if you're putting in the settings or anything, you're just putting in how long you want it for, what speed, and if you were doing anything else there. So it gives you those abilities. So I put those extras in. Once you've done all of that, you just press confirm, and that will stay in your recipes, so that when you go back into your My Recipes and you go into your created recipes, it will come up with your Easter cream eggs and anything else you add from the recipe community.
Yes, and you might have just caught a snippet of Kaz's recipe for the lychee blush, which is absolutely scrumptious. We may have made it at a team meeting. So if you've ever thought about having a bit of fun, joining our team is one good way to do it. We normally whiz up cocktails and food in the Thermomix at our meetings. And as you can see, our team is very far and wide. We've got Kaz all the way down in Garvock. We've got Lyndall and Anne across in Bendigo. Some of our team go right out to Mildura and up in towards Oyen. And then, of course, there's another little group of us down here in Geelong. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you've ever thought about having some fun, join us. It's a great way to also learn how to use your Thermomix more and get the absolute most out of it. If you don't own a TM6 yet, or if you do and you think you'd like to have two, as you would see, most of us have multiples. I think I've got 5, trying to be restrained and not get another. But there's a good offer on at the minute, I hear. So, it's taking a bit. But you can earn a Thermomix with just 4 sales. So if you've got friends, family who have a TM31 who might be thinking about the trade-up, now is a really good time to join. So, take advantage of some of these amazing offers and get yourself a nice little side hustle, which can be as full-time or as part-time as you like. So just something else to think about. Otherwise, I'm just going to bring the girls back on so I can thank them for running such a fabulous class. Thank you to everyone who has come this evening to watch us. We'll make sure that you get the video and all the recipe links for everything that we have made tonight. by the end of the evening, if you like. I'm planning to try and get that done this evening if our recording loads nicely. All right, add the spotlight. We've nearly got everyone on board. Hey, bingo, there we are. So hopefully you can see us all. Thank you very much for joining Team Elevate. We hope you have enjoyed your Easter inspiration and picked up a few tips and tricks. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat. We'd love to have a chat before you pop off. But we're going to end the recording there. And we will see you at our next class. We do have Zoom classes every month. And here in Geelong, we do run in-person classes every month. We do also, have car wheel travel. I've been down to Terrain twice this year, running classes down in that direction to help Kaz out. And if you want anything in person up around Bendigo Way or even further afield, we will all get that sorted for you as well. So let your consultants know what you would like. But otherwise, thank you for coming. If you've got